Hello there. What is going on, everybody? We've got some Armada news to talk about. There have been some changes, and we're going to talk about them today because Armada news is usually few and far between. But we've got some changes to existing cards, also a change to rapid reinforcements that is actually a pretty interesting change. So we're going to talk about all of these things and where you can find them. As you can see, I have the Atomic Mass Games page open right now to the Star Wars Armada page, which you usually don't find linked directly on their website, but you can find it linked on social media links like Twitter and Facebook. If you want to find all of the Armada information that is out there, I'm going to have a link to it down in the description for this video, so you can check that out. Also, if you are new here to the channel, or if you are a long time but returning person, we have plenty of giveaways and things, and you should check out. You should head over to crabbok.com. You should check out Discord. Again, links for all that stuff are in the video description if you want to follow me on social media. We're also giving away a lightsaber. If you want to enter to win that, you have to be a subscriber and leave a comment. So it's as simple as that, guys. Let's go ahead and start talking about all the good stuff. So AMG announced that the new changes are going to be on their website, and this is again, like I was saying at the beginning, I really wish that they would just list all of these on their website normally without having to have a direct link. But I think that's going to be coming with the new website. So as you can see, we've got tournament regulations, we've got errata, and we've got rapid reinforcements. What I want to do is we're going to look at rapid reinforcements first. If you haven't already seen rapid reinforcements, where have you been? Because we've been talking about this one quite a bit. Lots of changes here. Lots of new stuff here, and a lot of really groovy stuff. And we're going to see a little bit more about this at Mini Stravaganza, which is going to be coming up in mid-July. But hopefully the Armada painting stream that was kind of, we never got to see will happen. Maybe there'll be more room for more Armada stuff now, too. But the main thing that I want to talk about is Hera Syndulla. She has received some love and some changes. So if I'm going to read you the card here. It says, while a friendly squadron that has escort is at distance 1 to 2, it has adept 1. She also has dodge 1 and bomber. And she's 23 points. She's got 2 braces. She has a black die against ships, which is awesome because Hera is in an X-Wing here. She's speed 3-5 hull. But against other ships, she has 2 blue, a black, and a red. She has really high potential for doing damage. And she's not a X-Wing with bomber. With escort, which means you'll have a harder time trying to take her out if she spawns across the table from you. Spawns. But yes, but you might, at first glance, you're like, well, she already gave out adept. Well, in the original version, it was a little bit different. It was when she was activated that she would give adept to other escorts at distance 1 of her. And so if you had Adar Talon in your build, she could potentially activate twice. And there were a couple of problems with the card. Like, the idea of the card is the same, but there were a couple of problems with that. One problem would be that if you did Adar Talon, you could have potentially activated her twice. And then you might have some guys that have adept 2. The other thing is that if she activates early in the round, and maybe the guys that she gives adept 1 to don't activate right now, you have to find some kind of way to track who has adept 1. And if she were to be activated twice, but like maybe she moved in between with an Adar Talon, you might have some guys that have adept 1, some guys that have adept 2. And it could become really cumbersome to try and track all of that. And so now it's so much easier. This is a really great change. And it's in a lot of ways a buff. I think this is overall a buff to Hera. And it's also more simple. So she says, while a friendly squadron has escort is at distance 1 to 2. So one thing is that she's got a wider bubble now. So she can hit distance 1 to 2. It'll have adept 1. It's just a static ability. It's on all the time now. This is much, much cleaner. It's easier to keep track of. You don't have to mark anybody because nobody's gaining anything until the end of the turn or anything like that. and since it's static, you'll always, if you'll never have to remember, hey, did this guy, and get it twice. It's also because it's not activating when she's activated, so you have a little more flexibility on when you activate Hera as well. Although you do want to make sure that she is staying close to to enemy, or rather to friendly X-wings and other escorts. So really cool. Now she doesn't have she doesn't have escort herself, so she's not, you want to kind of keep her surrounded by other X-wings, I think is generally how it's played. Although you can use YT-1300s with her as well. So that's really the only main change here to rapid reinforcements. And hopefully we'll get more rapid reinforcements soon. But if we go back to the change, there's also an errata reference document. Now, there's not exactly a change log, so granted, it's possible I may have missed some minor things. I know there was some stuff that was kind of reverted back to even older versions, and that those are getting fixed, so I don't want to talk about that and confuse anybody, but I do want to talk about the two changes that are in here. One of them we already did talk about. So if you go all the way down to the bottom, you will see Hera in here. Now this is kind of nice that they put her in both places, because it makes sense, because Rapid Reinforcements is its own self-contained, not self-contained, but it's its own release. But since she's also been errated, it's smart that they have her in both places, because you don't want to not have her here because it is in errata. You don't want to not update the original document because it is in errata. So I think that makes perfect 100% sense that she is in both places. So I like that. The other, again, so I kind of cheated when I said there's two things we're going to talk about, because we already talked about the one. The other one is this card here, Reserve Hangar Decks. Reserve Hangar Decks might not even have a change that you recognize. So I'm just going to read it to you. Well, let's zoom in a little bit more. All right, there's Reserve Hangar Deck. All right, so it says, when a friendly non-unique squadron with swarm at distance 1 to 5 is destroyed, you may discard this card. If you do, you may set the squadron's hull points to 2 and place the squadron unengaged at distance 1 with its activation slider toggled to the activated side. You might say, well, I don't see what changed. Well, really, the important distinction here is that it seems funny to you at first, is that it's for friendly squadrons. Originally, it could have been used. It just said, well, a squadron, because you never thought that you would try to save an opponent's squadron with it, right? So why did this have to be changed? Well, first off, it's kind of sloppy to say that you can save an opponent's squadron, because there are some cases where you might want to, give somebody, like, let's say you were trying to do 9 num or something, or 10 num rather. 10 num wanted to drop somebody like in this perfect spot, and you wanted to make sure that somebody stayed alive to trigger things, and things like that. Like that was like a really rare corner case. What was more likely to be the use of that is if your opponent also had reserve hangar decks, and you were afraid that your opponent was going to save their own squadron. If you had priority, right, then you could pop your reserve hangar decks first, deny them the ability to save their squadron because you're going to save it, and you put it in a different spot at distance 1 to 5, where then you can turn around and kill it before they can pop it. Maybe you pop it out of range. Now, this is a corner case, and is not something that was largely done. It could be done, but it's not something that happened a lot. But it's just as like it was. So I don't think this one was a big priority to update right away. But it's still a good idea that they did it, just to future-proof things. Plus, I like that they're going back to rules and updating rules. Like this is a good thing. It's nice to see them kind of, digging deeper. I talked about at the Crab Stravaganza video, or Crabaganza, or whatever the heck I called my live stream, where I was talking about some of the recent stuff that they put out a couple of weekends ago. And I remember saying, I really wish they'd, dig a little deeper into the rules and kind of learn about some more of these, learn more about like some of these stranger interactions and some more of these corner cases, because that would help, not repeat some of the things that we saw in the last campaign, which were a little unbalanced. And so this is really a good sign that they're going into these cards and fixing things that aren't like super broken, but they're just tuning, I think is the best word, like just tuning it to be a little bit better. In this case, now the card works exactly as intended. And I think they closed up the loopholes. You know, in the case of Hera, who is over here. Yeah, in the case of Hera, that's a much cleaner ability, and I love it. It's great. It's and I think it's better now. While you can't potentially give somebody that effect twice, and then you can't just like activate her once and then now these guys have it until the end of turn, and I can activate them later and then move and get it. You know, you have a bigger bubble. And it's overall it's just a better change. It's better for the health of the game. It's less tedious. It's less fiddly bits for you to track. Overall, it's great. So I'm a big fan of that particular change. And that's about it, guys. So if you want to check out these documents for yourself, you can go to atomicmassgames/star-wars-armada. And then you will find all of this stuff. I'm going to put a link to that in the video description below. That is going to do it for today's video. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are absolutely awesome. Patrons, folks. Patrons are amazing. Thank you guys for continuing to support the channel. You are all wonderful. May the force be with you. Happy birthday. If it's your birthday. If it's not, well, remember my happy birthday message when your birthday comes. And goodbye there.